This is a talk about Falcosidekick, building a data management application. I'm Jonah, and I'm joined by Thomas. And let's get started. Thanks for attending.
So who I am, I'm Thomas Labarussias. I'm French SRE for Conto and online bank for B2B. I'm for 2 years now a Falco contributor for blog posts, documentations, service desk, more or less. And I'm also the creator of Falcosecurity, a daemon which is used with Falco to connect it to your ecosystem.
Awesome. And I'm Jonah Jones. I'm a partner solutions architect for containers at AWS. I'm a contributor to Falco as well. I work more on the test infra side, and that is my GitHub and Twitter. So feel free to follow. What is Falco? Before we get into what Falco Sidekick is, and Thomas does a really good job at explaining Sidekick. So, but Falco is a CNCF incubation level project that's actually just applied for graduation last week. So it's graduation pending. It's got 3.7 thousand GitHub stars, 24 million Docker pulls, and it is a cloud native runtime threat detection engine, which is a fancy way of saying it provides container runtime security and then oftentimes that's for Kubernetes. So
we have two sources of inputs for Falco. The first one is syscalls, so directly from the kernel of the nodes. But inside the Kubernetes clusters, we also able to ingest audit logs from the control plane and triggers alerts over some patterns about what happens in the API of Kubernetes. I will show you after.
Yeah. This is all you, Thomas.
If you want. So the idea of Falco is a daemon, simple daemon, a proxy, basically, between Falco and your whole ecosystem. So the idea is to take the input from Falco, the events that trigger the rule, and send it to a large amount of different outputs in a fan-out mode. You can filter by priority which output will receive this or this event. And since a year, the trends of usage and for Docker pool, the number of Docker pools is just unbelievable for me. So
yeah, that must be awesome as a creator seeing that go up, huh?
Yeah, after 2 years, you can wear this kind of stuff. So this is exactly real basic architecture of Falcosecurity. You have any numbers of Falco, you have Falcosecurity. We'll talk about it, but it's not a bottleneck. Don't worry about that. And you can push to Slack, Elasticsearch, Kafka, and some on-call duty systems, Opsgenie or PagerDuty. And obviously, because monitoring and metrology are really important, you can also scrap Falcosecurity to get metrics in Prometheus format about the number of events by priority, etc., etc. So currently we have more than 32 available outputs. So you can connect Falco through Falcosecurity to almost anything which is useful in your ecosystem. Of course, we have different Amazon services, but not only them. Most recent are for our function as a service backends output. I call them outputs, like Kubeless, OpenFast, Amazon Lambda, and Knative through a cloud event format.
Yeah, that's awesome. I saw things I've never even heard of on here, and you have things like Discord. I couldn't imagine somebody sending it to Discord, but that's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, yes, I don't know why, but why not? Why not? What's fun is these outputs. I've written a large amount of them because I'm the original creator, and for a while I was alone on this project. But after some people came and oh, I would like to do this or this output. Okay, I tell them, okay, wait 1 week or two. But after a few days, they were on GitHub with their own peer, and they proposed me their own implementation. For example, Google Chat or Discord. This is what happened for this output. So it's quite fun to review people or other people's work.
Yeah.
So
So we're going to be talking a little bit about the creation of Sidekick, which is, a data management application. But kind of when we talk about this story, the first one would be, why did you create Falco Sidekick, or what motivated you?
It started with a really basic frustration, because I'm a little bit psycho-rigid over design. So in the documentation of Falco, you have what we have on the left of the screen as example for Falco for message into Slack. And for me, it was really not beautiful. We lose a lot of details about the events. So as I wasn't able to integrate directly in Falco a better implementation for Slack, because I'm not a C developer or C++ developer. And at this time, almost 3 years ago, I was trying to learn Go a little bit more. I only did some CLI and Lambda functions, but not web server applications. So I told me, okay, I will do it. I'll try to find something useful. I created a simple proxy. It takes the inputs and sends it after to Slack. And after Slack, like in my previous company, we used Datadog. I integrated Datadog. Then after Elasticsearch, another one. And after a few months, I told myself, okay, the product seems useful for me. Maybe it could be useful for anybody else. So I shared it in the Slack channel of Falco. People loved it, and that surprised me a lot. And just a few days after, it was an official product integrated in the Falco Security organization on GitHub. And now I'm working with all that stuff with so much nice people. It's just unbelievable, really.
That's awesome. I mean, you solved a problem that you had, and then you contributed it back, and it's helped out so many people. So that's always awesome, I'm sure, to feel.
Yeah, it's really I don't know the word in English, but I'm glad of that.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, looking at the left versus the right, Falco has different event priority levels based off the type of event that's happening. And not being able to see a timestamp or a priority level on the event, or even what the event was, right? I'm sure that was pretty frustrating, because every time you'd have to go dig through the logs when you saw an alert.
The priority was really important for me, but also the role name and all fields we have, which are embedded in the events, because all these are all metadata, which are really useful. In this example, they are really stupid, but you will have some. For example, for a pod, you will have directly the namespace, the pod name, the container image, and if an application inside your pod has started a shell, for example, you have directly the name of the process, etc., or the command which has been ran inside the pod.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So you had a motivation to create Sidekick, right? And then now it's out of the POC stage, and you're starting to make this like a real, production grade application. Obviously, you mentioned why you picked the language, but when it comes to some other like design decisions, I am curious to hear how you chose to build it. From a usability, like layout standpoint, like how did you make it easy so people could PR back? And
I had some specifications I wanted for Falcosidekick. The first one was to be stateless, really stateless, no data retention, my idea was to only create a proxy which takes and sends back to with the minimum possible latency for avoiding to lose any message in the workflow. So Go was a good candidate for me because it's a language which is fun to learn, fun to use, and really easy to deploy as you have a single binary. And for the stateless feature, it was important because my idea was to be able to scale easily. So this is why if you need more ingestions from Falcosecurity, you can just upscale it. It's not a problem. And as it's really, it has a really low footprint over memory and CPU because of Go. And a thing that was really important too was to respond really quickly to Falco. Okay, I got your payload. It's okay. Continue your work with the monitoring of syscalls, but don't worry about your events. I got it, and I will take care of it now.
Gotcha.
And especially because at one time, it was almost 1 year and a half ago, there was an issue in Falco because when you sent to a remote server the event, the Falco waited the answer, and this created a lock, and this lock created another usage of CPU on Falco. It has been fixed since, not a big problem, but this is why some people had this issue with their own implementation of Falco to something else, but with Falco, they were safe of that.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. So you're basically utilizing Go threads to multi-process in this app to, get the response back fast, but then also handle the management and of that data. Is that correct?
Yes. With Go routines, it's really easy to take some things, put it in the channel, and after you start the amount of Go routines you need, one Go routine by outputs. So everything is in parallel, so it's really fast to take and send each time without a lock between different outputs. Like now, I don't think somebody does this, but you could enable 30 outputs and in Falcosidekick, and they all be used in parallel thanks to Go routines. So it's really convenient.
Gotcha. Wow. It does seem very fast at handling that data, which is probably one of the benefits of Go, huh?
Often the bottleneck, I've never seen Falcosidekick as a bottleneck for people. It always been the output. For example, it's really quick to reach the throttling of Slack API, for example. So
gotcha. So the throttling is happening at Slack or Discord's levels, not at Sidekick.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Demo here, Thomas. What exactly are we going to be seeing?
This is a basic demo of the integration between Falcosecurity, and Falcosecurity UI. This is just a 3 nodes cluster, 2 workers and 1 master. And I will show you how Falco is able to detect an Amazon secret key inside a config map and around you about, and you will see everything about. Green screen.
I like that example. I feel like that's very relevant.
So we have Falco, Falcosidekick, and Falcosecurity UI. Of course, we have 1 Falco by node. So this is why we have 3 Falco, because this is 3 node clusters, 2 node and 1 master node. So each of the terminal upside are Falco logs, 1 by Falco, and I will create a config map with an Amazon access key inside. This is totally fake, don't worry. And we have the logs. all details with, and in Falcosecurity UI, we can check the events. I did some tests before. This is why it's not only one event, but we have a timeline to priority over time, the rules over time.
Okay, nice.
Everything is clickable. So this one was the previous one.
So is that a warning level for the access key?
Yes, this is a default rule right now. So
okay, gotcha.
It might be relevant but it could be not. So
yeah.
For now, Falco and Falcosecurity are not able to interact with the cluster. This is the second demo after little teasing, because with the integration of function as a service output, Lambda, OpenFast, kubeless, and Knative, you can react to threats. This is what we call a response engine.
Gotcha. And there I see, it says the K8 config map object. I saw the key even let me know which one it was.
Everything you have the name of the config map and the details and even the content of the config map if you want.
Nice.
So all my sales, you have who did this in the API of Kubernetes. So this is system admin, when, the name of the config map, and the object which has triggered the rule. So you have the access key.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really powerful. I mean, and right away it can tell you exactly what the config map is and which key to look for. And so, I mean, you wouldn't have to run some sequential tool once a day. Like this is going to tell you right then, like, hey, you did something wrong.
It's almost, it depends the amount of events from your API, but for this example, in less than 5 seconds, we have the result. So it's more or less real time. And so you can react really quickly.
It's like antivirus for your Kubernetes cluster.
More or less.
I mean, that's super powerful.
Thank you. Thanks to Frank, because he's a magician with Vue.js and all JavaScript stuff. I only created the backend and the first release in JavaScript, but his version is really much better.
Yes.
So this slide is only to help people to start with only 2 commands. You are able to start a new cluster, Falco, Falcosecurity, and the web UI. And you will access to it with a port forwarding.
Okay, so you can just one helm command will get you the Sidekick and Falco together.
Yes, this was another idea I had. Falcosecurity chart is embedded inside the Falco chart, so this one as a dependency. So this is really easy to deploy everything in one time.
Wow. Yeah, that's a really fast way to get started if you want to try this yourself. So
hope so.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you guys for all coming to the talk. Definitely feel free to check out the Falco community at falco.org or the project on GitHub, as well as the Falco Slack on Kubernetes. And yeah, is there any shout outs you want to give, Thomas?
Nothing, just join us on Slack, discuss with us, and if you need something more, just ask. Often we add a new output in less than 1 week. So
yeah, definitely. If you ever have problems too, we're very active on answering questions on the Slack. I know you were helping out someone last night even, right? So
I try to help people.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate that. Thank you so much for joining me and doing this talk.
Thank you too.